Come on in, come on in. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Let me send this out really quickly. Hold on one sec. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Today we're talking about one of my favorite things. We're talking about money, okay? Why is money one of my favorite things? Because money is a vehicle. And we have creative and witty inventions in our very being, according to scripture, so we should never be broke. So we should get very familiar with money. And of course, when you understand that you've been around for a while, you understand that money is made up of 75% cotton, 25% linen. Thank you so much for these gifts. And the thing about it is, when you understand that you are comprised of time, energy, attention, and money, you no longer worship money. You take it off the pedestal, you bring it on down, and you realize that you are here to be able to create income for yourself, okay? And so we're going to dive deep into that today because we're going to talk about how to make money that does not make sense. So this Wisdom Wednesday is going to be one aspect of wealth. Hey, lady of the house. So one aspect of wealth, y'all know that we talk about generational wealth, but generational wealth consists of 5 key pillars, okay? Yes, financial resources. We're going to tap into that today. Emotional fulfillment is another one. Time freedom is another one. Healthy relationships is another one. Growth and purpose is another one. That is how you build generational wealth. Okay, I know a lot of us, thank you so much for the gifts. I know a lot of us just think it's about money. It's not about money. Okay, it's not about money. It's about having financial resources, yes, but it's not solely about money. Money is going to shift and change in the next couple of years. You're going to see it for yourself. Okay, and like I said, money is made up of 75% cotton, 25% linen. Okay, so we're going to talk about today how to make money that does not make sense, especially in this society, especially according to the program that we've been raised on. We're really going to dive deep into it. It's going to be like a mini masterclass. So I'm going to just tell you, go ahead and invite those that need to be invited because this is going to be really, really good. I'm super, super, super excited. Thank you so much for these gifts, gorgeous. And I can't wait to get into it because some of y'all have been asking a little bit about, money and expansion. I'm not going to talk about necessarily how to make money, like on the basic level. I'm going to talk about how to make money that does not make any sense. That means people pay you for that. I'm talking about you doing something so amazing that gets you paid so well that people are like, they pay you for that? They pay you that much to be able to do that? Like, it blows people's minds because it doesn't make sense, because according to the program that they've been taught, there's only 1 or 2 different ways to be able to make that type of money if you're not scamming or something like that. But we're really, really going to dive into it, okay? So for those who do not know who I am, my name is L. Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and what I do specifically is I support my amazing clients who are high capacity women. I support them in stabilizing internal hierarchy, okay? So that money, relationships, and your health does not fragment under pressure, okay? That is what I do, because when you stabilize your internal hierarchy, what happens is money increases, okay? Your health regulates, and your relationships seem to organize or reorganize themselves. Those are the top 3 results that I get with the women that I work with, okay? Excuse me, I need some water. I'm going to turn one of these lights down too because it's a little bright. But today, hold on one second, let me hit this. So share the live, share the live, share the live, because we're going to be talking about how to make money that doesn't make sense. So we're going to talk about one aspect of what I do. We're going to focus on the money aspect. And it has to do, and honestly, when you, or if you haven't been with me before, when I talk about money, you'll realize that the things I teach you in business, you can apply to life and you can apply to relationships. Okay. So we're going to dive directly into it because I'm not going to be on here really, really long. Thank y'all so much for the hearts and the gifts. This is what I ask. Okay. FYI. So there are three key things that I teach women that are very important if you want to thrive in this era, in this society, in this world. You want to understand spiritual law so you can create your own reality. You want to understand the science of yourself so that you can understand the science of the masculine and the development of everything else around you. Okay. The third thing is very important is for you to assess and to study your generational psychology, specifically the matriarch, what your mother did, what your grandmother did, what everyone became before her, what they did, because it's very important. It's in that assessment without judgment is that you're going to be able to see the holes, the loops, and you'll be able to close them in your own life. If we don't close those things, we repeat those things in our lives, whether we realize them or not. Okay, whether we realize it or not, you are still a lemon that comes from that lemon tree. And what I need you to understand is that pressure builds and pressure reveals character. Okay, and we are in a society, we live in a society currently that is a pressure cooker. So it is constantly revealing who people are. So if you don't go back and you don't study and you don't pay attention, you're going to be exposed. And I always tell this to women, like, expose yourself to yourself. So in the event that anything comes out in regard to you, you're okay with yourself because you've already taken radical acceptance for the things that you've done when you didn't know your value, when you didn't understand your well-being, all of these different things. But stop allowing people to make you a slave because you won't face the things in your own mirror. And that requires you to look at your mother, your grandmother, the women that came before you without judgment, so that you can see why they made the decisions they made and how you can reverse engineer and not make those same decisions. That is how you truly break generational curses. A lot of you are just narrating stories and making more money, but your life is not shifting and your life is not changing and you are not thriving. You are just surviving with a bigger salary. Okay? And when women get to that space and they're just surviving with a bigger salary, they come to see me. Because you can't hold on to or sustain something when you are in a space of exhaustion, when you are in a performative space, when you are in a space where you are not operating from the fullness of yourself. Okay? Thank y'all so much for these likes. And so the key thing to thriving, I told you the three things that you need in order to thrive in this world, in this society. Thank you for the follows. One of the key things in spiritual law is this: if you sow value, you're always going to reap value. Okay, that's how I live my life. That's how I do business. That is how I operate, right? So I sow value into people. I sow value into experiences. That is my goal, to always drop a seed everywhere I go. Because if I'm always dropping a seed everywhere I go, fruit will always find me. Okay, if I'm dropping a seed everywhere that I go, even if I drop that seed and I leave, because I've dropped so many seeds, fruit always finds me. And so I live my life according to the principle of the law of sowing and reaping. And my understanding of that is you sow value or whatever you sow. So since I am sowing value, I'm going to reap value. So sow value if you are receiving value is what I ask of you. So share the live if you're receiving value during this experience. Share in the form of likes. I don't really ask for gifts, to be honest with you, but if you feel led to do that, then hey, you go right ahead. But what I ask you to do is to sow into your own self by sowing value, because that value will always be returned unto you. If I'm not gatekeeping the information that I'm giving, you don't have a right to gatekeep it. Who are you? Don't do that. Gatekeep your own stuff if that's what you want to do. The thing, gatekeep that, but don't gatekeep the things that I'm on assignment to give out. Don't hoard that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't block your own. Don't create your own ceilings. Okay? All right. So we're going to talk about today how to make money that does not make any sense. Again, for those who don't know who I am, my name is L. Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist. And what I do specifically is I support my amazing clients who are high capacity women by guiding them to stabilize their internal hierarchy. Because if we do that, that positions you to not have your health, your money, or your relationships fragment under pressure. This looks like you really being able to stand on business for real. This looks like you being able to really see an increase in your money. This looks like your relationships reorganizing, and this looks like your health balancing and regulating out. Okay. I have results in all of those areas. I've worked with hundreds of women. They have testimonials and results. I've impacted thousands of women. So I'm not new to this. I'm very, very true to this. I'm on assignment, and I love, love, love what it is that I do because I love seeing women get the real results. Okay. Because that's what the focus is. So I have, a lot of you know, I have results in those areas as well. I used to be a lot heavier. I used to have salary caps, and I went from, being a social worker and having a salary cap of like 37,000, I think, to building a multi six figure business from basically writing and being obedient and operating in the gifts that are within me according to Proverbs 8 and 12. And what I know for sure is that if I am able to do this, you are most definitely able to do this. And I've helped women do this. So if you're here, you want more on that, you're in the right spot. Let me move up a bit. Oh Lord, these ducks outside. Y'all gonna hear these ducks, okay? In a matter of 2 days, I didn't see the wild turkey, some ducks, and a deer. That's a whole nother conversation. But okay, so let's get to it. We're gonna be talking about today how to make money that does not make sense. Because according to what people told me, I wasn't supposed to be able to leave my job at 35 and create a business and be able to, grow into a space of multi six figures. I wasn't supposed to be able to do that on my own. I was supposed to go to school like I did, get a bachelor's, get a master's, get paid 37,000, and be able to just go on and do my civic duty while working in CPS, where it was severe child essay and unalive and all that kind of stuff going on, and I'm supposed to just be okay. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I followed the program that I was given, I would still be basically like 100 pounds heavier. I would be sick. I would still be suffering with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Hello. Because I know they told y'all that was forever. But these are the things that you have to pay attention to. Stress, those things when you suppress, and I was a big suppressor. I am the oldest daughter. I'm the firstborn. I'm the oldest daughter, right? I am the first to go to school, the first one to start a business, the first, all that pressure. So yeah, all of those things basically suppressed me into sickness because I was the one who was holding everything together. But I was cracking until I started being obedient. And it's like the floodgates opened and I started to make money that literally made absolutely no sense. And so I'm going to give you that information today. I hope that you get it and you grasp it because it's going to be like a mini masterclass. And I'm going to give you 3 vital shifts. So you want to make sure that you stick around, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. First things first. What I need you to understand now, especially where we are currently, you don't make money based on effort. You don't make money based on effort. The person who works the hardest is the one who's normally paid the least. That's why they have those entry-level positions in corporate and stuff like that. So you can come in and basically make sure that they hit their bottom line because they can work you to the bone. Because if you really can't, and I'm telling you how they think. I'm just telling you, because you came in and you accepted such a low role, or you didn't really qualify for anything else, and so they placed you at that low role. They know that you really, really need that job, so they're going to work you to the bone based on your frequency of desperation. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was lying. I wish it was like, oh, that's not true. No, they bank on your desperation and you not understanding the value of your time, your energy, and your attention because you do not know how it's going to impact your body. I'm just telling you. And they pay you very cheap to do all of this. You do not make money based on your effort. Okay? You make money based on your mental plane. You make money. Thank you, my love, for the follows. For the shares and the likes. You make money based on your mental plane because everything exists within possibility. Everything exists within possibility, but you only get to experience what your perception allows. If you were on my live last week, I talked about how limited perception blocks you, and you can go check that out on YouTube. Okay, thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. You can only experience what your perception allows. If you reside on if you have, and I'm gonna tell, and hear me, if you suffer with chronic anxiety, that means that you live on the frequency of fear the majority of the time. You live on the frequency of fear because anxiety is rooted in fear and lack. That's a whole nother conversation. So because you reside on the frequency of fear, your entire viewpoint of this world is through the lens of fear. So you identify yourself as anxious attachment style and you make a theory your personality. You identify yourself by your trauma and your drama. Okay? And all of these things because you don't understand the truth about yourself. So you can't see past fear. So every move you make, you're anxious about it. And because you're so anxious, you don't make the moves you're supposed to make. You actually waste more time. And time is the most valuable currency on this earth. Thank you, Lovey. On this earth. And these corporations play on the fact that you don't understand the value of your time, the value of your energy, the value of your attention. They understand the value of your time, your energy, and your attention, and they still pay you cheaply. Do you understand that? They understand all of that about you, and they still pay you cheaply. Because why? They know that you don't know your value because you sit on a lower frequency. That's where you live. That's how you see things. I need this job. Fear. You need that job, but do they need you? Because I could have swore that corporation needed you to be able to function because they need you to cover their bottom line. They need you to, your work ethic to actually cover their bottom line, to execute. They need to tax on your soul to meet their goals. And you think you need that? You think you need that? You think you need them? Please. Everything exists within possibility, but you literally only experience what your perception allows you to see. There are, and I'm going to tell you about these three realities if you didn't know. There are broke realities. There are plateaued realities. There are expansive realities. And these realities are simultaneously occurring at the same time right now. As you are even watching this, how you're saying this, I was just thinking about quitting my job. All of this right now in this experience, they're all occurring, all three of these realities. These are not different planets that I'm talking about either. These are literally different programs. I'm going to show you how they trick. I'm going to show you a formula because I'm a nerd, right? This the fun part for me. This is the part everybody be like, I'm so weird, but I don't care. I like to create formulas once I figure stuff out and what be going on, and I'm going to put you on game. So there is a formula. I'm going to show you how they tricked us all to go to school, go to college, get degrees, and how we're going to get great jobs and all this type of stuff and a white picket fence on it. I'm going to show you how they did it right now with this formula. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So they're different programs, those three realities: broke realities, plateau realities, and expansive realities. Okay. Not different planets, different programs. This is how they programmed us. So just imagine they give you the program. They tell you what to do. It warps your perception, which is the next step. So for a lot of us who were millennials, we were trained by the media. We were trained by Disney. If we didn't have parents, if we were latchkey kids, we were trained by entertainment, which is why a lot of us have a very warped perception of relationships and different things like that, because Disney raised us. Like, we were the Lion King. We saw the real Lion King. I don't know what they gave y'all, and I really hate they came out with that remake. Let me stay on task. But the one that came out originally, see, we grew up in all of that. We grew up with all the love and yada, yada, yada. And we grew up in that type of era. And because of that, it programmed us in a way to believe that butterflies meant love. They programmed us to believe that butterflies meant love, which altered our perception of love. So we had a generation of women who would make decisions based on believing that butterflies meant love, when the whole time the truth was that butterflies is a warning from your nervous system saying, actually, no, don't do that. Pause, please. Take a second. Hold tight. So that program warped the perception, which made women, the next step after the perception is warped is you start making decisions based on that perception. See, she started choosing based on the butterflies she felt. She started choosing based on her feelings, when your feelings are too fickle to lead your life. Your feelings are way too fickle to be leading your life. So it went from program to perception to decision to behavior to income. That's how they tricked us into believing if you go to school and do this, all of this is going to happen for you. Okay, so let me graduate from college in 2007. Okay, I went to school. I got a degree. What do you mean? I followed the perception. I went to college. I made a decision to go to college. I acted out and did my whole everything, my matriculation, to get this income that didn't happen. Excuse me? And I got these students, excuse me? Nobody was saying there was going to be a recession in 2007 when they was telling people to sign and get student loans. Okay? That's how they trick us every day. This is why you should question everything that you have been told, because you have been programmed. And depending on what program you were given as a child, and you have been carrying a lot and along the way, it determines what reality you're on. So either you are on a suffering in a broke reality based on a program. Hello. You are in a plateaued reality where you have a ceiling. You can't seem to get above it, that reality. Or you have an expansive reality where you're able to multiply and create even more in that reality. All three of these realities are existing at the same time, literally right now as you are listening to me. But it is really dependent upon what is your program. And if you haven't reprogrammed yourself, if you haven't gotten order, then you're still running on the same programs from childhood. And for a lot of us, our programs were syndicated. So we learned through media. We learned through tradition. For those of us who grew up in the church and was hit over the head with the Bibles and had to go to church on VBS, they had to go to Bible study. They had to be there on Sunday for Sunday school. Service was 3 hours here. I come from the generation of, I grew up Baptist. Okay? I wasn't at VBS. Thank God my mama wasn't doing all that. But baby, we was at Bible study. And we was at Sunday school. And baby, we was up in that thing for 3 hours. Baby, I was in the church when they was giving the food at the end. Okay? Because it was in there too long. So the thing is, a lot of us were raised with teachings and traditions that don't even match the true text in Scripture. And because of that, we have a very twisted way of living. And we are living in realities that are beneath our authentic design and our identity. We are living like slaves because spiritually, mentally, emotionally, we are. Okay? When you allow something, and hear me when I say this. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. When I say this, understand this. Man, woman is a creation of the Creator. Society, government, all of these other things are a creation of man. Media, all of these other things, they are a creation of man. Are you going to allow a creation of man to determine your value when you were created by the Creator? Are you going to allow another creation to determine your value when you are a creation of the Creator of all things, everything? Be very careful of the program. See, your program should come from your Creator. When you got an issue with the battery, you don't talk to another. If a battery is broken, you don't talk to another battery about a battery. You call the battery company. You call the creator of the battery. What are you talking to another battery for? Why are you talking to the package that the battery came in? You're doing everything but going directly to the owner and the creator of the battery. My God. Listen, again, there are broke realities, plateaued realities, expansive realities. These are not different planets. These are all timelines that are occurring right now. These are different programs. So depending on your program, it influences your perception. Your perception impacts your decision making. Your decision making, your behavior is going to be the fruit of that. And your income is going to follow from the behavior of that fruit, of the behavior. It's program, perception, decision, behavior, income. You want to know how they put society under a spell? They control the program. If you are not commanding yourself every single day, if you are not programming yourself every single day, you're being programmed. If the first thing you do is get up in the morning and check your email, you're being programmed by that email. If the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is get on social media, you're being programmed by what you see on social media. And let's just say you see something that hurts your little feelings because you decide to open an app and the little person you've been dealing with, you done got your feelings, they doing something. Now you starting your whole day disrupted because you opened the app and now an app has command over you and you wonder why you don't have dominion in this world. Sweetheart, you literally were created for dominion. That's the crazy part. You have your own lane. You never have to compete. You never have to compare. You only have to show up in the fullness of who you are. But you refuse to do that. And because you won't master yourself, you cannot master anything else outside of yourself, which is why two people in their logic, how certain people make money, it just don't make sense to them. It'll never make sense to them because they can't see past their limitations. They can't see past the low level that they're on. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes. They can't see. You can't see what's happening in expansive reality when you live in a broke reality. Stop expecting people to get you. See, y'all be trying to talk to people about y'all business stuff who live in a broke reality. You talking expansion to a broke person? They're cursed in the mind because they actually believe that they're broke. That's the issue. They believe the program. Y'all want to talk about the matrix? Don't piss me off. All this knowledge and not enough learning is crazy work. We are too educated. Women are so educated. Everyone is celebrating, oh, so many master's degrees. And I got a master's too. Who cares? To have all that schooling and not learn not a now lesson is crazy work. By looking at the fruit of your life is insane. It's insane. You should be tired. You should be exhausted. Change the program. Change the program. And most of you, when we're talking about program to perception, to decision, to behavior, to income, most of you are trying to scale income without changing the program. You think you got to get another job. Do y'all not understand that these people tricked us into believing that we had to break our bodies down to be able to make more money while they use glamour magic, psychological spell work, and all kind of things to keep us in a state of low self-esteem and no value to the point that we doubted our own creativity, started saying, I'm not creative? What do you mean? What do you mean you're not creative? Don't get on my nerves. The scripture says that you have creative and witty inventions in your very being, according to Proverbs 8 and 12. So who the liar? The Most High ain't never lied to me. Men done lied, women done lied, numbers been crunched, data been skewed. The Most High ain't never lied on me. And your energy has always told on you. Okay? You have got to understand you are a spirit being having a human experience, and the human experience is an energetic experience. You are not fooling anyone. They tricked us into believing these things about ourselves so we wouldn't operate. So of course it doesn't make sense when somebody in a broke reality is seeing somebody expand. Of course they think that they scamming. Now don't get it twisted. There's some scammers out here. There's some scammers out here. A lot of the real scammers though, they own syndicated television channels. We really want to get into it. We really want to get into it, but I don't want to get banned. So I'm gonna slow down. But I need you to understand most of you are trying to scale income without changing the program. You're trying to get money in a space that you can't even sustain. And that's why it doesn't make sense to you. That's why it doesn't make sense to you. So let's talk about the different realities. Let's talk about broke reality versus plateaued reality versus expansive reality and what that actually looks like. So broke reality, which is the broke mental plane. Okay. The broke mental plane says things like, I can't. The broke mental plane says things like, I'm not ready. The broke mental plane says things like, I need more before I move. I need to do this. Your little perfectionism, your little, I have to get everything right. That's what's keeping you in a broke reality. Good morning. Wake it up. Let's go back again because we're talking about the realities broke versus plateaued versus expansive. Again, broke mental plane. Broke mental plane says, I can't. Oh, I'm not ready. Oh, I need more before I move. That's what broke mental, that's how you stay on a broke mental plane. When you're in a broke mental plane, that means that is your belief, which is your program, because belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. And you don't believe me, I want you to think about that pregnancy scare you had. You really thought you were pregnant, didn't you? Huh? Throwing up? You can smell everything? You sleepy? Period late? Girl, you pregnant. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. You didn't took a test. The test say you're not pregnant. Why you stop throwing up? Oh, you're not sleepy no more? Oh, your period came? Because belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. Clown, wake up. This is why you need to understand the science of yourself. Okay? This is why you need to be in sync with the 4 phases of your cycle. And for some of y'all who ain't went and got the physics of rhythm so you can understand that, go over there and get it. Because you need to know about you. You need to know about you. Belief impacts biology and biology influences the way that you behave. Again, so when you on the broke mental plane, you're saying things like, I can't, I'm not ready, I need more before I move. Look, the same thing is when I feel sick. When I feel sick, I go to the doctor. They say I'm fine suddenly, no symptoms. Exactly. Don't even get me started on that. And then people don't understand when they says in scripture, there's power of life and death in the tongue. There's power of life and death in the tongue. Have you ever scratched yourself and you didn't recognize it? And then you looked down and you saw blood. And when you saw blood, the brain registered a message and said pain. And then you started to feel pain. Have you ever attempted when you started to feel the pain to speak against the pain? Have you ever attempted to speak against the pain? Have you ever attempted? There's power of life and death in your tongue. But have you ever attempted to speak against the pain? That's something that's really, really important. I've seen people, and here's the thing that people will blow me with people, right? People will say, oh, I'm living like Yeshua, I'm living like the Messiah. That's the example, and da-da-da. The Messiah, we're supposed to be able to do the things that the Messiah did. Why is it that you have no healing ointment within you, especially as a woman? We are balms. We are natural balms. Where is your power? Because if you can't speak to yourself, how are you speaking life into somebody else? And you always whining about how nobody speaks life into you. You're not even speaking life into yourself. You're not a reflection. What you're doing when you're speaking to other people, baby, you being fake. You hoping that they're going to turn around and give it to you because you ain't giving it to yourself. You're not keeping it real. And let me tell you something. The universe is an algorithm created by the Almighty Most High God. And that universe is an algorithm. It is the world's largest responder, bigger than any algorithm that you can even think of. Social media, Wall Street, bigger. Everything else mimics that one. And if you believe for 1 second that you're going to sow full value by pouring yourself and giving of yourself to other people, but never giving back to yourself, and think this universal algorithm is going to reward you, baby, this universal algorithm was created by the almighty intelligence. Are you insane? Do you know the God you serve? Y'all play too much for me. Y'all play too much for me. Seriously. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. Y'all play too much for me. Like, be for real. You're doing that because you want people to return it unto you because you were taught traditionally that that was kind. Just like you get upset when you say hello to somebody and they don't say hello back. See how y'all be picking and choosing when it come down to free will? See how y'all be picking and choosing when it come down to free will? Because somebody compliments you, that you compliment them and you really were looking for a response and they don't compliment you back, or they don't say hello back. They don't do what you want. See, you only like free will when it's beneficial to you. You only like it when it's beneficial to you. But the minute somebody want to tell you no, it's a problem. It's a problem. But here's the thing. And let me explain something to the people who have such a big issue with no. The reason why you have such a big issue with no is because you don't say no enough, and you are revealing yourself to people who are predatory. So you want to wonder and figure out why you continue to be victim of narcissistic spirits. You want to try to figure out why people keep coming into your space and they are users, because you consistently tell on them with your fruit. And it tells you in scripture, they will know you by your fruit, and they know you by your fruit, beloved. And you give prey. You give prey, which is the perfect scent needed for a narcissist to just come into your space and siphon the rest of your energy. Let me get back to where I'm at, because hold tight. When you on a broke mental plane, you're saying things like I can't. You're saying things like I'm not ready. You're saying things like I need more before I move. Those things are keeping you on the broke reality plane. That's why you hate your life and you hate on everybody else when they come to you telling you something good. Because let me tell you something, broke people don't know peace. Broke people don't know peace. Broke people don't know peace because they can't see past their own reality. So you are looking for approval. And some of y'all mamas and y'all daddies, they don't know peace and you want their approval. Let's talk about the plateaued reality. Because let me tell you something. You ain't no better than the broke reality, because ain't nothing worse than being in the middle. I can't stand the middle man. I can't stand somebody who ride the fence. Baby, pick a side. We grown. At least that's what you say. You were so excited to get your ID when you turned 21. So let's get into it. We're adults. We're grown. The middle is not safe. Pick a side. Pick a side. So let's get into this plateaued mental plane, because the plateaued mental plane says things like, oh, I'm stable, or I'll optimize later, or I'll manage, or I'll be responsible. See, the plateaued mental plane, that's where a lot of oldest daughters sit. Now I'm at your doorstep. The plateaued plane is normally where the oldest daughter sits. Let me explain something to you about the frequencies of money real quick, and how the oldest daughter tends to sit right there in the middle. There are 3 levels of money, right? Number 1, getting money. Somebody can give you $20, you got money. You get a 2-week check, you get money. Somebody could be a robber and they rob somebody, they get money. Getting money is not impressive. This is why when you hear that a man gets money, you shouldn't be impressed, because that's the lowest level. Let's start right here. Because you don't know how he getting that money. You just know he get it. You too impressed. You're too impressed because you don't know. Getting money is the lowest level. Then you have the second level, which is hoarding money. So let me show you what hoarding money looks like, because I know y'all think this ain't you, yet it's you. Okay. Hoarding money a lot of times is experienced when a person grew up in poverty or they grew up in conditions that they do not want to return to due to lack of resources. So they can only allow their account to get to a certain amount, and they're going to hold on to that. I mean, they hold on to that money. They so tight with that money, XYZ. They just keep holding it and holding it and holding it and holding it, and it sits in the middle. And it never moves. It never grows. Because how do you expect to catch what's yours when your fist in your hand is closed tight like this? You are holding on to it so tightly because you are afraid of going back to where you were, that you are blocking your ability to be able to expand, because you want to sit in the middle of being poor, in the middle of being wealthy. Rich in a sense of rich within you, so rich within you that you create relationships, because the real riches and the real money and the real revenue is in the relationships you create. Because people who got money want to put you in rooms with other people who got money as long as your character's together. I've been telling y'all for 4 years now. Your authenticity will get you into doors, but your character is what keeps you indoors. And understand, women have put my names in room, gotten positions, money in my pocket because of my character. Yes, my work is my work. Yes, there is no one speaking like I'm speaking, but I live what I say. And I don't play about it. Am I perfect? No. But I don't play about operating from a space of integrity. I don't play that. I don't even keep people around me who lack integrity. People about me know this. I keep people around me who gonna tell me the truth, even if it hurts. That's why I don't care about nobody's applause. I don't care about nobody's criticism. I'm here on assignment. So the reality of the situation is, when you sit in the middle, it's a slow death, because you know it's supposed to be more for you. This is what you know. You feel it every day, but you sit in the middle because of your fear and you plateau. Yeah, you stable, but you ain't moving. And in a minute, that's going to be sickening. Because even when it comes down to you being sedentary at work, if you are too stagnant, your body don't even work right, and you think you're going to be able to sit in a space when the vision, please. The third level of money is for those who understand the law of sowing and reaping. Every time I get, I give. Because I understand, one, I'm a cheerful giver. So as I'm giving cheerfully into this universal algorithm, because I'm not giving to this person. See, y'all be having a mind frame. I let you borrow this. I gave you this. That's how y'all be keeping a track of wrongdoings, like it talks about in 1 Corinthians and 13. Y'all really don't be loving people for it. Y'all fake as hell. Fake as hell. You understand what I'm telling you? Fake as hell. Fake as hell. And it's all because what? The program is wrong. See, you looking at people and you're sowing into them and you're thinking, I'm giving this to you. No, baby, you start sowing into the universal algorithm. Better check your frequency when you sow that. Because if you sow it with an ulterior motive, it will return to you like rotten fruit. Thought you was going to get appreciation? For sowing with that type of intention? Please. When you are sitting and you understand the top frequency of money, when I get, I give, you are sowing into the universal algorithm. And like I said, when I first got on this live, everywhere I go, I drop a seed. Everywhere I go, I drop a seed of value. Everywhere I go, I drop a seed of value. So guess what? I am always met with fruit. I am always met with fruit. So I don't have to hold on to something for dear life, because I am always met with fruit. I don't need to get money because I am always met with fruit. This is what it talks about with those principles. Yes, come on, 19K. Y'all, I have a goal of 30K. So let's get me to 30K, please, and thank you. If you're receiving value. But when you're on the frequency of understanding the sowing and the reaping, right? This helps you understand the principle of being a cheerful giver. It's better to give than to receive. Why is it better to give than to receive? Because if you're always giving cheerfully and you're always sowing, you're always going to reap cheerfully. Rotten fruit won't find you. Fresh, healthy fruit will find you. All you got to do is be in position to receive, which is alignment. That's it. That's a big way that people be making money that don't make sense. They literally on alignment. They literally on alignment to receive. And I'm not telling you something that's just, no, I'm telling you like real results. I'm telling you what it is. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these gifts. But if you sit at the plateaued mental plane talking about I'm stable right now. And that's what a lot of y'all do. I'm gonna really hand it to you with this one, because a lot of y'all be like, well, I mean, I'm stable because I'm getting my 2-week check. See, that's what a lot of people used to be saying. I couldn't do entrepreneurship because I'm stable. I'm getting my 2-week check. Ain't no job security. Now what? Ain't no job security. Now what? Ain't no job security. Now what? I told y'all that back in February of 2023. The video still on YouTube. It's one of my top videos. I'm crying in the video because I woke up from a vision that the Most High gave me that everybody was going to lose everything. The people who were wasting their talents, the people who were sitting on their gifts were going to lose the little that they had if they did not wake it up. Anybody who's been following me this long will tell you I said all this. I talked about how jobs was going to be lost. I told everybody all this stuff before it started happening 3 years ago because it was shown to me in a vision. Not playing. But I told y'all even in 2024, they said by 2027 that most jobs are going to be eliminated and there's going to be contracting jobs. I told y'all because I spent 2 years showing you how to make money. Anybody who's been following me this long will tell you. I've been preparing because I've been getting the visions. I've been seeing this. So this is not something you sitting in the middle is an insult. You may as well be in a broke reality. You may as well live. If you're going to sit in the middle, I'm stable. If you're going to sit in the middle, you may as well go ahead and go to the broke reality. Because when they pull the rug from under you, you see how ain't no middle class? Do you see how it really ain't no middle class? Do you see how there is really no middle class? Being in the middle will always get the rug snatched from under you. You better pick a side before a side is picked for you. So being in this state and being in a plateau, I'll be responsible instead. Let's go to the expansive reality, because we've talked about the broke reality and the plateaued reality. Yes, 25,000. So let's get to the expansive mental plane. The expansive mental plane says things like, what if? The expansive mental plane says things like, what would it look like if I 3x this some kind of way? I'm going to give you an example of 3xing something. If you are a business owner who works primarily using content creation and different things, I'm going to show you how to 3x something within 60 seconds. Pay very close attention because I'm not going to repeat it. I want you to take one piece of content. Let's just say that it's a live video that you did. I want you to put that live video in an app like Galaxy AI. I want you to use the AI clip generator to be able to produce multiple content pieces. I want you to take your notes from your live and I want you to turn it into an email. Do you see how I just put you in 3 different positions to get paid 3 different ways? Stop playing with me. Stop pissing me off by staying in the bottom realm. If that's where you want to be, I don't care. If that's where you want to be, I don't care. That's your life. But that right there, that one thing, that comes from the expansive reality. I live in the expansive reality. I'm always what if. But do you see how I did that and I didn't have to be multiple places at certain times? So if I'm taking one live, chopping it up into shorts for YouTube, shorts for TikTok, I'm taking it one live script and I'm turning it into an email. That means I can get paid from my email list. I can get paid from YouTube shorts. I can get paid from TikTok, somebody seeing my video and going ahead and getting it. And I can get paid from people who buy into the live. And I only had to be in one place, which is being where I needed to be at the right time and position automation and AI to do everything else for me. I didn't have to do anything else. Y'all make stuff way too hard. You make things difficult for yourself because you're still operating from the broke reality. The expansive mental plane says things like, what if? How or what would this look like if I 3x this? The expansive reality asks questions like, what if I stop stabilizing and just start structuring? I just gave you a structure right there. Most of you are not even broke in real time. Hi, loving. You're plateaued, which is the worst place to be in the middle. Cruel. It made me so mad. Being in the middle pissed me off so bad. I'm not even kidding. I can't stand it. That's why and I'm going to tell you how much I hate the middle. Let me tell you what people know about me in real life. Don't ever come tell me something that somebody said about me. Don't ever come tell me nothing that somebody said about me, because I'm going to see them. I'm going to see them. And I'm going to see you too. Because let's get some clarity. So either don't bring it to me or handle it. Because if you ride with me, handle it, but don't bring it to me. Because we're going to get clarity, because I don't do middlemen. Hi, lovey. I don't do the middle. So a lot of people are not even in a state of broke. They are in a state of being plateaued. And being plateaued is absolutely the most dangerous thing that you can do, because being plateaued feels mature. You feel like you're being responsible by keeping this thing going, when in reality it's choking you out. It's choking you out. It talks about in Ecclesiastes 10:2 how a wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. I'm going to say that one more time and then I'm going to explain this. Ecclesiastes 10:2 says, and y'all know I read the Ethiopian scripture. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, I read the original one without all the with all of the lost books in it, which is necessary. I have a video on YouTube about why I don't read the King James Version. You can go and check that out, and you can do your own research. But it says in Ecclesiastes, yay, thanks to 30,000. It says in Ecclesiastes 10:2 that a wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. What this is orientation, okay? Your left brain, your left side of your brain, which is also known sometimes as the masculine side of your brain, that is where logic is, critical thinking, facts, past data, risk assessment, all of that is coming from your left brain. This is your logic, okay? Your right brain, however, right side, is intuition, creativity, imagination, vision, feelings, all of that. Neither one of those are wrong. But when your logic outranks your imagination, you're putting your heart to your left, which means you're being a fool, because you're leaning on your own understanding, which is your limited one side of your brain. That's what it say. That's what it say. Neither one of those sides of your brain is wrong, because both of them are necessary when you listen to music. So understand this about music, because I'm also a person that, like I said, I'm a nerd. So I study a lot of stuff. So one of the things that you have to understand when it comes down to music is that music is a medium, right? Music is a medium. And so when I say it's a medium, it resides in an area where it could enter you without you being conscious of it entering you. And so when music enters you, this is what happens. If there are lyrics, The lyrics are going to go to the left side of your brain, which are going to process what's being said so that, it's learning it. And this is how you start singing songs that you don't like, because you hear them on repeat, because repetition is the language of the subconscious mind. So the more you hear that, it's the same reason why you still know the ABCs. When you hear the music, the lyrics are going to the left side of your brain. The right side of your brain is receiving the actual melody, the beat, and all of these things. This is when you hear people say things like, oh, I don't really care about the words. I just like the beat. Well, there's no way for you to digest just the beat when there are words on the beat. It now becomes a program that's been sent through a medium that now has access to you, which is why you can start singing songs, like I said, that you hate because you've heard them on repeat. And I grew up in an era, thank you, my love, for these gifts, where they had payola, so they would pay DJs and different things like that to spin certain songs over and over and over again. And now, because we live in the streaming era, and because we live in an era where people can access music, people put themselves under their own spells because they will replay songs over and over and over and over and over again. I explain this when you are listening to certain music, toxic music, different things like that, or that promotes toxicity. Those things have an impact on your reality and what reality you reside on, especially when it comes down to love. If you are listening to things that are toxic around love instead of focusing on things that are strengthening your love and having you be in a space of self-love, what's actually happening is that you're living on a broke reality of love. And so because you're living on the broke reality of love, all you meet is broke men, broken men, men who want to break you down like a fraction. Tell me I'm lying. It's exactly why it says to guard your gates. It's exactly why it says that. But let me get back to it because I don't want to get too far off, okay? It says again, a wise man's heart is at his right hand, okay? But a fool's heart is at his left. If you spend more time focusing in your logic, in your left side of your brain, and it's outranking your imagination and everything that's happening, intuition, and all these things that's happening on the right side, then order is being violated. Order is being violated, okay? Now, here's the big violation of that. The law of order basically states what leads determines what multiplies. Okay? So if protection leads, then constraint multiplies. If fear leads, then stability multiplies. If vision leads, then expansion multiplies. You're not plateaued because you lack intelligence, or you're not sitting in a space and stuck there because you're not smart and you just dumb and you don't know. You're plateaued because logic has outranked your imagination. You can't even see the miracles, the blessings, the elevations, and things in your life because you're trying to still make sense of it logistically, which is crazy. The Most High does not work in your small mind. Y'all be making me so mad with that. The Most High is bigger than your mind. Most High does not have to fix and sit in your box of a mind so you can understand. This ain't about your understanding. You're going to be missing. And that's your problem now. You got to understand everything, and therefore you feel like everybody needs to understand you. You need to be okay with being misunderstood. Y'all be doing that wild work. Wild work on your own self. What do you mean? Man, let me get back to this. Sheesh. You are not plateaued because you are not smart. So many women are so intelligent. All of my clients that come to me, I can't say I have a dumb client. I don't have a dumb client at all. All of my clients are extremely intelligent women, educated women, careers, a bunch of different things. But that logic, lean into your own understanding. Like that's my favorite verse in the entire world. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all of your ways and he will direct your path. See, my mother used to write that to me in every single Bible that she gave me. And one day my second ego death. Before that, I was told to dissect that verse. And that verse basically says is to trust and completely rely on me. I got it. Stop trying to do it on your own. You don't have it. You ain't big enough. I got it. And ever since then, I let him. You gotta be dog. Now I mind my business. Okay? So when your logic has outranked your imagination, right? Your hierarchy becomes inverted. It becomes inverted, right? So I'm going to support you in having these 3 mechanical shifts, okay? So you can really support yourself in this experience, because it's very, very important. If you want to start making money that does not make sense, right? Absolutely, yes. Stay out of grown folks' business. That's how I felt like the most I would talk to me. I was like, all right, you got it. You right. You right, I'm wrong. So this is how you can, this is basically the shifts you need to make so you can realize how you can make money without it making any sense. It ain't gonna make no sense to nobody else. People gonna start be like, what? They pay you that for that? But hold tight. So the first thing you have to do is you have to interrupt your logic. Your current program is fear-based logic, okay? It sounds responsible, it sounds mature, it sounds strategic, but it's limited. And that's why you're sitting in the space of the plateau, okay? Every time your mind says something like be realistic or be safe or don't destabilize, don't disrupt what's going on, I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this protection talking? Is this protection talking? Because expansion specifically, okay, cannot occur in a fear-coded program. So if you're still operating from the space of fear, you're not going to be able to expand like that. So you have to interrupt the logic. This is going on my YouTube channel, and it'll be up there tonight. You have to shift the program. And don't think you finna go use neuroscience and get it done, because you not. I'm tired of y'all with that. Y'all need to be studying psychobiology first anyway. I'm tired of y'all with that. You cannot apply all these mind. You need interruption. You need to get the hierarchy together. Okay? So again, your current program is fear-based logic because it makes you feel responsible. You're doing the responsible thing by staying in this position or being mature or being strategic, but you are completely limiting yourself. So you need to really ask yourself right now, is that protection talking? Okay? Because expansion cannot occur in a fear-coded program at all. Yes, 40,000. Thank y'all. Here's the second thing. The second shift that's going to be extremely important that you're going to have to knock down is that you're going to have to follow the illuminating path without, y'all ain't going to like this. You're going to have to follow the illuminating path without fight or freeze. Okay? Hear what I said. Without fight, without freeze. What do I mean by follow the illuminating path? There is always a direction that lights you up. Find it. You know, you see that it's a TikTok video where the girl was doing something. She was like, I'm finding it. Find it. Find it. There is a direction that lights you up. And I want you to start telling the truth about this. It's not fantasy. It's expansion. And you are holding yourself back, okay? Whatever this is, it feels alive. It feels clear. It feels electric. And most women really tend to override this because expansion activates the nervous system. The unknown activates the nervous system because you're trying to figure out in your mind, in your left brain logic, how is this going to work? You're trying to figure out how is this going to work, and it's none of your business because you're supposed to be over here anyway. You're supposed to be over here listening anyway. Okay? And that is what we are missing. So because most women fight the expansion and it activates the nervous system, you get fight, you get freeze, you get retreat. Those are the 3 responses that's going to end up happening, okay? I need you to understand that attuning yourself, being exactly where you need to be, alignment, all of those things, attunement is following expansion, okay? And it's following expansion without collapsing into adrenaline, okay? That's what causes you to radiate. Then you become magnetic. Then you become almost like irresistible because you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. Have y'all ever been in a space where a woman has walked in and you look at her from head to toe and everything about her is just energy? It's bigger than a baddie. It's bigger than, oh my gosh, she look good. But it's like everything on her is so put together. She is a clear walking vibrational state. Like she's just in tune. The colors are right. The skin is, everything is exactly what it's supposed to do. Guess what she's doing? Because she's radiating. Because everything is aligned. Everything is proper. Everything is right. Everything is attunement. There's not a hair out of place. There's not a nothing. And according to her being in attunement, the law of radiation has no choice but to be honored in that experience. She is radiating the frequency of being completely aligned, and everybody else feels it around her, whether she even opens her mouth and speaks. Do you understand? This is how this works. Think about this when it comes down to business. Think about you being in attunement and being exactly where you need to be and what it is that you're supposed to be doing and the message you're supposed to be delivering, and you being in such that space that your glow radiates to your audience so much so that they are drawn in magnetically. Now you've pulled them into your frequency, right? By simply just operating. Okay? Absolutely. And I'll take it up a notch. Said God-like aura, God-like nature. You're in your full God-like nature. Period. Okay? When you are radiating like that, when you are aligned, you're going to emit that high frequency. When you are inverted, you're going to contract, which means you're going to repel the very thing that you want. Income follows radiation, not repellent. Income follows radiation, not repellent, and not tension. Okay? Number 3, this is very important. And I know it might be hard for some people at this time frame, but it's still important. I'm just going to be honest with you. It is. You're going to have to increase your playtime in imaging. You're going to have to increase your playtime in imaging. Let me explain. Imaging, and some people may say visualization or whatever, but imaging, and I'm going to talk about it from a neurological standpoint, not from the standpoint of people like, oh, just visualize your reality. That is it's the same thing, but I'm giving you the science of it, okay? So imaging is basically neurological rehearsal, okay? It's to form a mental picture. It's to reproduce an exact likeness. It is to create internal familiarity. Did you hear what I just said? You're going to have to increase your playtime in imaging. Okay? Absolutely, Valerie. Absolutely. You're going to have to increase your time in that. Okay? Because what you are doing in your mind is neurologically rehearsing a mental picture. You are neurologically rehearsing a likeness, an exact likeness. You are neurologically rehearsing internal familiarity. So guess what happens? If you see yourself as this woman who is managing a company that's bringing in this amount of money, it creates internal familiarity. And if it becomes super, 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 super familiar on the inside of you, that energy will radiate from you. And when that energy starts to radiate from you, people will want to give you more income. They want to put more into that. They want to invest in that. They want to pour into that. Okay? Makes a difference. Thank you so much. I really received that and I appreciate it. You need to spend more time creating internal familiarity. But no, But no, can I just tell you the truth? You already doing that. You know how you doing that? You doing it with men. Now y'all finna be mad at me. You're doing it with men when you romanticize something that ain't happened for real. That's why you have them breakdowns. Because you be in your mind imaging something that's not even real. So you done went on a date with this clown one time. You know nothing about him. He's very vague in his answers. And when people are vague in their answers and you are a person who sits in your mind and you ruminate and you romanticize, so you start filling in the blanks of what you think those answers are, and then you become internally familiar with a stranger who don't even know you, who ain't thinking about you, and here you are crashing out because he didn't call you a stranger as a stranger date. You see how you've been focusing on the wrong thing? Limerence is a byproduct of that. See, limerence is a symptom. I help you get to the root. Limerence is a symptom of that. It's a symptom of poor imaging. Hello. Welcome. Limerence, I'm so glad you said that, is literally a byproduct of poor imaging. Because who the hell is this man, ma'am? Who is this man? Who is this man? Who? Let me go back to what I'm doing, because I will get distracted in a hot second. Because y'all be getting so mad. Because what are you... girl, okay, outsourcing. Don't even get me started. Let me come back. Imaging. Yes, 50K. Imaging is neurological rehearsal, baby. Be careful what you're rehearsing, because eventually you're going to act it out. Eventually you're going to walk it out. Because when you are increasing your playtime in that space, you are forming mental pictures, you are producing exact likeness, you are creating internal familiarity, okay? If you cannot see yourself operating 3 times better, your body will not tolerate that. See, women that come to work with me, when we have our one-on-one sessions, which I'm going to open my one-on-one sessions back up again starting next week for a few slots. But when we get in those sessions, we go through imaging. A part of our session is imaging. And I take you to a space because, like it tells you in scripture, you are to guard your gates. The reason why it tells you to guard your gates, because what you see, you can't unsee. And I'm going to help you see you. And you're going to have to choose if you're going to keep walking the same direction that you're walking in, or you're going to do what's necessary to get to where you need to be. Because the reality of the situation is this: if you can't see yourself operating better, your body's not going to tolerate it. That's why you're not working out. You think you being lazy and not working out. Okay? It's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of the fact that you don't see yourself really getting better. Really, you don't see yourself getting better. And we have to do something about that. Most women are rehearsing survival. Lasha said, please one-on-one me. I got you. You can't see yourself operating in space, so you continue to rehearse survival, and that's why survival tends to repeat in your reality. And so you must start rehearsing expansion. You must start rehearsing expansion. Thank you, my lovey. If you stay, and I'm going to tell you something else that I need you to understand. There's a stabilization tax, okay? If you stay in stabilization mode for another 90 days, let's just say, even if you are a person, even if you're below making, I don't know, 10K a month, right? Or you're 10K a month shorter of what you should be. If that is, how can I explain it? If you are in a space where you're making money, but you're lower than you should be, and you lose an aspect of some money, you can look at that and be like, oh, it's just money. It's just this. It's, it's not a big deal. It's not that. A lot of you are settling because you're sitting in a reality or a mental plane that doesn't push you into expansive, so you're actually blocking yourself from being able to get the type of money that you want to make. And you are causing yourself great harm. And let me tell you something, the more you outpour and the more you give to clients and customers, the slow resentment builds, because now you start feeling used. You start feeling used because you're like, I'm giving out all this stuff and nobody's buying and nobody's investing and nobody's doing this. No, you're staying small and people are not responding. You're performing small and people are not responding. You are paying in quiet compromise. You are paying in quiet compromise, and that's the stabilization tax. Right now. If you're thinking, I need to see how this fits in my strategy, then the strategy is downstream of order. You cannot strategize your way out of inversion. Okay? You have to fix the hierarchy first. You got to get the order together. All right? So if you leave this live and you're still operating from the same mental plane, not unconsciously, but consciously, you know that your logic is literally fear in a blazer, or your imagination has technically been demoted because it has to make sense to you, then you need to go ahead and come into the order code next week, because it's 3 hours. Sessions are going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to have a Telegram group of 5 days. If you can't get 3 hours to correct your hierarchy, then plateauing or sitting in the same spot is not your problem. Your tolerance is. Your tolerance is. Now, when I say inverted, I'm speaking about you're living basically upside down. You're not living right side up, which is causing you to be burnt out, which is causing you to be exhausted, which is capping your money, because you're trying to figure out how to make all of this make sense, when the point is none of this is supposed to make sense. None of it is supposed to make sense. That's why this is titled How to Make Money That Doesn't Make Sense. It's not supposed to make sense to other people. You doing this is an example of like, wow. This is how people be like, wow, she was able to do that. Like, okay, wow. She was able to use her gifts to be able to do X. It should not make sense. Man, people paying you that? Yes, it should not make sense. That's what happens when you truly, truly surrender. That's what happens when you stop leaning to your own understanding. That's what happens. Okay? So for the woman who is in the space who is inverted and she needs to see exactly the pattern or the loop that's actually blocking her, then you want to click the link in the bio and grab the pattern recognition lens, because it's going to let you know so that you can see the pattern clearly. Hey, my lovey. Okay? So if you are indecisive, or you are not indecisive, if you're decisive and you understand that I need to get my order together, I need to get my hierarchy together so that my money increases, so that my health regulates, so that my relationships reorganize on their own because I'm just exhausted and I'm tired of it all, then come into the order code. Okay? The order code is 250. You can get a recliner firm and afterpay. And the pattern recognition lens is 111. Okay. You can also get that with Client Affirming Afterpay. And you click the link in the bio to get access to both of those. But if you want to make money that does not make sense, you're going to have to stop violating order. And a lot of you are violating order. Y'all are trying to scale from another reality without changing the program. If you come into the order code, automatically we're going to get you together and you're going to be in the right order, so you know the program. The program that you've been running on is all your life is why you're exhausted, why you self-sacrifice, why you feel like you need to be a martyr, why you feel like you need to save everybody, and why you're so anxiously attached. These things are programs. And if you don't break the program, your perception is not going to change. And if your perception is not going to change, then your decisions ain't going to change. And if your decision ain't going to change, your behavior ain't going to change. And if your behavior don't change, your money's never changing. And I rarely ever say never, but I stand on that. Because belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way that you behave. So you decide what you want for yourself. Do you want to make money that does not make sense? Or do you want to keep living on a broken reality, hating on everybody else and hating your own life experience? You were not sent here to exhaust yourself to oblivion and pay bills and die. But if that is what you choose for your reality, I'm not going to argue with your perception of self. But I think it's quite low to think that of yourself, especially when you have a creator that thinks so highly of you. That's all I got. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Click the link in the bio to get access to the pattern recognition lens for 111. Powerful tool to be able to support you in coming into a space of really recognizing your patterns. You can't fix something that's not correct. Excuse me. Another thing I will tell you too, if you get the pattern recognition lens, go ahead and get the free time code too, because you're going to get a double whammy with that. You're going to be able to recognize your patterns and you're going to be able to jump timelines. I just explained to you the different realities. If you want to jump into another reality, you need to understand the timeline formula. I have a free guide that teaches you how to do this. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All praises to the Most High. But here's the thing about the time code. Yeah, you can learn how to time jump. You can learn all of these things. But if you don't recognize your patterns, you can hang it up. You're just going to repeat them. So the time code is great if you already understand your patterns, you understand what's really going on, and you're ready to shift and do something different. But if you don't really see yourself, if you have not really looked in the mirror, you have not changed the program, you cannot scale. You cannot scale into a better life. You cannot jump into a new frequency. You cannot create another reality. So you really want both. So get the pattern recognition lens, get the time code. And if you need order and you know you need order, stop playing and go ahead and get into the order code next week. I have a few tickets left. The order code price is going to go up Friday. The first session that we're having is going to be Monday. It's $250 now. It's going to be $333 after Friday. Okay. So let me see. Okay. Hold on. Someone asked, how do I feel about listening to subliminals from a spiritual perspective? Do you know what's in as long as you know what's in the subliminal? Are you creating the subliminals? I've created subliminals for myself and listened to those. And I've also listened to the subliminals. Do you know what's being said? Is the thing. If you know what's being said, then and you're fine with that, then you should be fine. If you don't know what's being said or you're not fine with what's being said, then we need to pay attention to that. But either way it goes, it's still a medium. It's basically the same thing with music. It's lyrics. It's a melody. The melody is calming enough for the right side of the brain, so it's easily digestible and dissectable for the left side of the brain. So, but yeah. But that's why it's very, very important. Because when music comes into your ear, and the whole thing like an eardrum, it's beating to let the brain know, hey, we have a message coming, we have a message coming, we have a message coming, pay attention, we have a message coming. So it's coming up and then it's going to the left brain. Say you are the truth. Thank you. So glad I came with my FYP. I appreciate it. Thank you. I listen to Bible verses while I sleep. This is helpful. I'm glad it's helpful. Any other questions? Any other questions before I get off here? And make sure y'all click the link in the bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Of course, the information I give in these lives are amazing. They're going to shift your reality. But the best bet if you want transformation is for you to get behind closed doors. I am going to be opening up the next cohort for the Pattern Interruption Lab in March. And then I also have my Substack that you can click the link in the bio to be able to subscribe to, and you can become a paid subscriber on my Substack. Substack has a lot of amazing articles and information, so make sure that you go ahead and go over there. I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm not seeing any additional questions. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get off here. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Self-care is the key fundamental of every single relationship. You set the tone of how people treat you by the way you treat yourself. So you should treat yourself exceptionally well because you deserve it, unless you don't believe that. And I'm not going to argue with your perception of self, but I challenge you to work on that. Okay? I listen to Bible verses when I sleep. Is that helpful? I don't know. Is it helpful for you? I know it's helpful for me, but I can't say if it's helpful to someone else. I know it's helpful to you. Is it helpful to you? It's helpful to me. I do that very often. So, because I'm really big into reprogram my mind, reprogram minds. I used to have a course called Reprogram Your Mind, where I break down like literally how to reprogram your mind, like step by step. It was a top big seller back in 2022 and 2023 actually. So yeah, all right, y'all. Let me go. Y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Congratulations to those who've gotten their tickets to the order code. Congratulations to those who have gotten their pattern recognition lens. And you want to make sure that you're on my email list to be able to get the information when those 5 slots go out for one-on-ones, because I'm only going to have like 5 slots. Okay. So y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Peace, y'all.